Well, the only we'll talk about the games. The only thing that is upsetting to me about this tournament, and it's a great tournament, and it's competing with the NHL at this level for television viewership. But last night, I think that the junior tournament was the main game in Canada, if not, and also in Russia. The thing that really bothers me is nobody learns their lesson about greed. They gouged on the price, and what they did is they scared a lot of the fans. And when you gouge people, you can fool some of the people some of the time, but you can't fool all of the people all of the time. And they had empty seats. They had a ton of empty seats for most of the games, and it's terrible that they would do that. It's terrible that they would punish their very own fans that have stood by at the intermediate level of professional hockey. I consider junior hockey professional hockey, but I consider it at an intermediate level. And
they could have done, Frank, and you would have done this in your business. They could have gone to all the Quebec major junior hockey teams around Montreal, and there must be 7 or 8. And every season ticket holder would get a ticket reduction of at least 50%. And that would have given them a base to build upon, would have
Brilliant.
people in the building, and would have helped the junior teams too by giving something back to their season ticket holders. But no, they wanted to gouge the bag right off them, and that's what they
gouged themselves. 100% of nothing's nothing, and you know that. You're a business guy, Billy. You were a dollar and cents guy when you were responsible for the success of a team. And they gouge themselves. I mean, at the end of the day, you punish yourself when you do shit like that, and you deprive everybody. It's just a domino effect, and it really upsets me that they did that, and it took away from the people who have been very supportive of that level hockey, which is a great. I'm not trying to demean or disrespect. I think junior hockey in Canada is an incredible level. I think it's at an even higher level than the college hockey that's in the States that gets pretty decent attendance.
Yeah, they do in certain spots, Frank. They've got some good areas. I mean, we're tainted here in Ontario with London. I mean, London is, along with Portland out west, maybe Vancouver. I don't know how they draw. But certainly Portland and London are two of the best franchises in the CHL. And they draw...
And the Sault Ste. Marie does very well. The Sioux Greyhounds, they garner an incredible attendance, and the people are very behind them.
Yeah,
of the great city of Sault Ste. Marie.
Kitchener's always been solid. I mean, there are, but the big numbers are in London and Portland. When I say the big numbers, the 5-digit attendances are in London.
Yeah, I agree, and and Ottawa's done a very good job with the Ottawa 67s in maintaining an incredible base of entertainment. But I just don't understand why they would go and gouge and punish their own fans. I don't get this. I don't get.
Never let it. And it never entered their mind, Frank, that they were punishing their own fans. They were rubbing their hands with great delight that they had a product that they could sell at any price point they chose, and that was the bad advice. I would assume that when they're back in Montreal and partly in Toronto in 2017, that it'll be a different kettle of fish. But they've already gouged.
Hopefully there'll be somebody with brains. You need to reward your fans to the point that you make them happy, and you make a good business decision for everybody. And there was a ton of seats that were empty. It was very depressing, very sad, and a lot of people said, "Screw it! I'm not going to pay that amount of money." Anyways, getting back to the games, I found that the tournament was exciting. I felt the caliber of hockey was at the highest I've ever seen in junior play. In fact, a lot of times it was very hard for me to distinguish whether it was junior or whether it was NHL. It was unbelievable quality hockey. Very well coached, very high level of talent, and all the countries that participated. And it's just a magnificent tournament. It's a great way to showcase the future of hockey, the future of the NHL, the future of the KHL, it's the real deal now. You can't discount the KHL as being a competitor for a talented level of hockey entertainment that competes with the NHL. I mean, eventually they'll probably have to merge.
Well, the KHL, Frank, because of the ruble now, is really taking a kicking. They're if the ruble, and it will get back, obviously, but the way
the ruble has become rubble. So
yeah, the ruble is in rubble. Yep, very good.
Yeah. So Perry, what's your thoughts as a guy who's a journalist who's covered sports and who's covered gouging, who's covered stupidity? What's your take on what happened with the gouging of some of the pricing on the tickets for this great tournament that Team Canada was very successful in respecting their country and respecting their game?
I think that reminds me a lot of what the Buffalo Bills did when they came into Toronto and just jacked up the prices because they thought they can get away with it. You learn your lessons from this, and having said that, the buildings were 90% occupied. How much are they going to say, like, they're really sorry? They're not sorry. Will they drop the prices a bit? Yeah. They get all their money from television. They get 90% of the buildings filled, and you get people that are going to complain that the prices were gouged, and they were. But honestly, do you really think that these guys really feel bad about it? I don't. I think that they look at it.
I disagree. I think, Perry, that there are some guys in as we call the suits that are pissed off with some of the executive decisions that were made. It's bad PR, and it shouldn't have happened.
The person that was responsible under his leadership, if you will, was Bob Nicholson, who's now the Edmonton Oilers. Did a wonderful job through all the years that he worked with Team Canada. Tom Rennie, who's now taken over that position, basically had to face the firing squad to explain basically a mistake was made, even though it had nothing to do with him. He wasn't around long enough to actually be responsible for it. It was the leadership of Bob Nicholson and the marketing department. So going forward, something will be done. But to me, it's more of a question of, you could take this to Western Canada, where they would kill to have it there. You've decided to go into Montreal and Toronto for buildings which are like 18 to 20,000. It's a lot harder to fill those buildings than it is to have 9 to 10,000 in Regina and Saskatoon.
You should choose a little bit of decorum when you're doing the pricing then.
Like I said, they'll drop the prices, but if you think they're going to drop them dramatically, I doubt that, because the appetite is so strong for Canadian hockey, particularly here in Toronto, maybe to a lesser degree in Montreal, but it's not like they were.
I think Billy Waters' idea is brilliant. That if you're a season ticket holder for a junior A teams, that you should get a big discount. I think that's a brilliant. I think that's an ingenious idea.
Are you talking throughout Quebec, or are you just talking blanket in general? If you're a season ticket,
it's a tournament. If you were a junior a ticket holder, right? You should have got a big discount. I think it's a brilliant idea.